This is another video of the foundations of a healthy church, and I'm going to be talking about Thomas Miller, how he talked about hear, believe, and obey. And of course, like when I first started out at Gateway, like I heard these three things, and like I didn't really know what the reason was behind it, like why they said that or anything like that. Like I knew, obviously, you hear, you believe, and then you obey. But I loved how he kind of went in depth into all those, like all three of those things. I also loved how we played that like listening game in the beginning. That was so fun because that also like it engages like the listeners like into it, and it also incorporates like obviously the listening part, and it was also just really fun. So he said communication is more than just speaking, it's listening, and that's really cool because obviously like having such a big church like Gateway, like communication is really key. And so it's not about like speaking what you think or whatever, but it's also listening to other people, which is really important. He says we need to hear first and foremost, and that there's a difference between listening and hearing. You can listen but not exactly hear it. And I thought that was cool. Like when you can listen obviously and not hear what someone's saying. Like I tend to do that a lot sometimes, and it's something that I think the Lord is working on for me. Like I can be paying attention to someone but not at the same time. Like you can be listening to them and not really hearing them. And so I think also like even just as a pastor, or even just as a human being, I think as we grow spiritually more mature, it's really important to keep our ears open, especially if the Lord's wanting to speak to us in specific moments and specific areas. Like we need to be especially me, like I just think I need to be more aware of that and more aware of hearing, really hearing, and not just listening. So hearing God's voice is a continual thing, which is true. So that's why I think it's something that we need continually to put into practice. It says the more you can obey, the better you will hear, and the better you hear, the better you obey, which is cool because I think when you obey the Lord, it really like spiritually matures you, and then also like it deepens your love for the Lord, and it also deepens who you are in Him. So it's really cool. So yeah, he talks about like obeying, and he explained like the definition of it, and he says it's to hear, means to hear under. And so I think like when we obey, it's also like humbling ourselves, because we're like coming under the authority of the Lord and humbling ourselves to do something that he asks of us, which like when you really think about it, it's like, Lord, I'll literally do anything. Like you died on the cross for me, you sacrificed everything for me, and I'm wanting to do that in return. So I think just having that heart is really important. And he says obeying is resubmitting to God with new information. That's cool. That's a